Hey DTA Nation, Easter's coming up, and if you're still figuring out the centerpiece for your table, Old Southern Barbecue has you covered. Their double smoked brown sugar glazed ham is the real deal, starting at just $79.99. But here's the move: if you upgrade to the full Easter ham dinner for $134.99, they'll send you home with scratch-made mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, gravy, and their homemade banana pudding. Go online and order at oldsouthernbarbecue.com or give one of their locations a call. They will go fast. Now to the show.
Welcome to Down the Alley. This is Pmac.
And this is The Source.
T.S. Spirides will be joining us later during the boys section. We're kind of flip-flopping this week. Girls first, boys second. Worked better in kind of everybody's schedule. So that's the only programming adjustment this week. I don't know if something fell or what, but happy Friday, section 5 week. This is a big section. I've been poking a couple of my sources. I think this week's guest for the boys, at least they say they're going to be coming in hot, so buckle up. How about on the girls' side? Have you been talking to sources? What's the vibe with section 5?
Talked to some sources, spent some time with one of my big Section 5 sources last week at the DTA invite, former head coach Anna Bowlesby, now professional sim golfer. So yeah, I talked a little Section 5 last week. We have Madison Kidd coming on, head coach from Wayzata, so looking forward to that. And yeah, it'd be good to learn a little bit more about Section 5.
Speaking of the DTA Invitational, this was this past weekend at the time of this recording 2 weeks ago when this episode drops. Great turnout, 39 golfers over at X Golf. We had staffs from around the state, all the way from Duluth, Moorhead, doing overnights. We had various staffs from various sections. We had youth coaching staffs. We had alumni groups. We had a little bit of, we had sources.
Officials.
We had officials. We had the refs. Shout out to the refs. So we were breaking bread with, I feel like, every corner of DTA Nation and the Minnesota lacrosse community. What were your thoughts on the DTA Invitational? I know you're kind of on the other side of the simulator bays, but we were checking in with everybody as the day progressed. How was your side?
My side was great. We were my team was Anna Bowlesby and Katie Polson McCannon, two fantastic coaches. And we were paired up with the Duluth guys, and say Duluth guys, but one guy drove up from Cincinnati, Ohio. So that's no joke. So just hearing what they go through, and their lax world is a little different than maybe what you and I are used to. And three great guys, and we had a really good time, and it seemed like everyone was having a good time. People were walking around, catching up with each other. The Moorhead crew was active. And it was just a lot of fun. A lot of youngsters, a lot of oldsters, a lot of in-betweensters. So I had a really good time.
In a few weeks, I guess I'll spoil it. We're gonna have Moorhead on, so I'm sure we'll talk more about the Invitational. Close down Carbonis with them afterwards. I won't say who we ran into, but there was some DTA Nation, there was some Minnesota lacrosse people that happened to be at Carbonis that weren't at the DTA Invitational. They weren't at the DTA Invitational, but it sounded like they'd like to be in the future. Sounded like they wanted to be. So I don't know. This thing might be growing year after year. We got the Open. We're looking forward to the Open, playing for the Orange Jackets on July 31st to kind of wrap up, the Invitational. It's kind of like this time of year on DTAs to kind of gain the hype, build the hype, get it going for the 2026 season. The Open will wrap up our high school youth club year, July 31st. It'll be out there. Different links will be out there. So, stay tuned. It's been promoted. It's been published now. So
registration is open.
Registration is open. We have at least one team registered already. The defending champs here, on the stream, The Source. We've talked about your team's called
Team Disruption.
And they're a bunch of disruptors.
A lot of disruption going on. Well-named squad.
We got a guest come on a few minutes here, but before we do, we got to talk about Old Southern Barbecue. I know they're big on grad season, grad party season. I'm sure the seniors, I'm starting to get invites for various graduation parties. I know you hosted one last summer. You got to start locking this stuff. It's March now. I know it's crazy to think it's March now. You got to start locking these things down like now, right?
Yeah, and as a lax parent, May, June comes really fast once lax season starts. Those weekends tick by quickly. So if you're redoing your deck or ordering Old Southern Barbecue, you better get on your game right away.
And they're great for, this month we've got, basketball, the basketball tournament, NCAAs. Are you big on that?
Yeah, I am kind of big on that. I'm not big during the regular season, but who doesn't love the tournament? You could do a little bracket here or there, put a little skin in the game, pay a little attention, have a get together on the opening Friday. Yeah, I have a good time during NCAA season.
Well, like you said, if you're doing a little get together, Old Southern Barbecue's there for you. Get the party platter ordered, make your own party platter, do what you got to do to feed the people, right? So, Old Southern Barbecue, they're there for you at grad party season, hosting any sort of event. If you're watching NCAA's or college lacrosse or whatever it might be, or visit one of any of their locations, they're on various main streets across all sections of the state, not all sections, but multiple sections across the state. They're adding more every year, it seems like. So check out Old Southern Barbecue. Big lacrosse supporters in Minnesota and beyond. So thank you to Old Southern Barbecue for riding with us in 2026. And our guest is in the waiting room. Source, should I let her in and
I think we stalled long enough. We can let her in.
get this thing going?
All right, Madison Kid, welcome to Down the Alley. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. How's your off season been? What's the off season like for head coach of one of the largest schools in the high school league? What do you do during the off season?
What do? I chase little kids around. But
That keeps you busy.
uh, our captains are doing an awesome job with their captains practices during open dome time, and the kids are staying busy. We got a lot of kids in club programs, and yeah, they keep us informed of their activities.
I've seen a few of the youngsters' names pop off on the social media and on the club scene. So I'm sure it's encouraging to see it's kind of the next wave of Wayzata Trojan girls laxers kind of start bubbling up.
It is. I mean, we've always had a strong youth program. That hasn't always been the only feeder for our program. I mean, a third of our program last year was all brand new to lacrosse. But we're seeing the dividends of the youth program and then the club involvement. It's showing in the chemistry of our kids too. So it's nice to see them.
Good. Well, let's touch a little bit on the 2025 season. Maybe flew a little under the radar to the point where I looked up last year's Down the Alley preseason ranks. Not a great look for Down the Alley. Pmac didn't have Wayzata in the top four at all. Ted and Katie both had Wayzata four. What did we get wrong besides everything?
Strategically, we like to fly under the radar. We want to catch teams off guard. But it's also nice to be seen as a competitive force. I mean, just program history. When I joined Wayzata, we only had 22 players, and we've now had 3 levels for 5 seasons. So
That's
I
great.
think again, we're just seeing the payoff of these kids working hard and having chemistry build up, and they're becoming a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, so you had three seniors last year that graduated, all pretty big time producers. Ainsley Owens and Evie Marks were your leading scorers. But then Ava Schneider, maybe not the biggest scorer, but killed it on the draw circle and just
Yeah, she was
scooped
sneaky.
all the ground balls up, it seemed like. So
Mhm.
a lot of production that just graduated out of three players. Do you want to talk about what they did and what they brought to the program?
Yeah, I mean, they were heavy hitters for sure and would always kick off any draw control. And a lot of our best moments in a game were not even letting the other team get settled. And just when they had good cohesion, quick movement, they saw, I mean, Evie was killer with the assists and she knew how to look for people. Ainsley would drive right through. They were just fantastic for our program. And I don't think, as much of a loss as it is, it's exciting to see some of these new players step up and see what we can level up this year as well.
Yeah, so some of those new players, key returners, I got Addie Vaughn, 2027. She had 25 goals last year. Jaden
Mhm.
Miller's recent commit to Youngstown State. She had 15 goals and 14 assists. McLean, or I think Mac Roeder, she's a 2028, 21 goals.
It's
Then you
McLean
have
Raider. Yep.
McLean, okay. And then your goalie is 2027, sported a 7.22 goals against average. So you got
Ainsley
some,
Weiner. Yeah, she's
yeah,
killer.
you got some youngsters kind of in the hopper, ready to fill the void.
Yeah, they're ready to step up and show it. I mean, Addie Vaughn, Jada Miller, and Anna Denson all play club together. So do Ryan Hufker, Lulu Fries, and McLean. Like they're playing together year round, so they're ready to get on the high school field.
So who maybe not those names, but any dark horses that we don't know about that we need to kind of keep an eye out for.
Just have to watch and see, but I'll call out that three of our four captains are defense this year.
Nice. Okay, I like that. I like that. Uh, your defense must be pretty much all returning. Ava, I think, was listed as a midi, but seemed like pretty much a D mid. But you must have your a defense pretty well locked and loaded and returning for next year or for this year.
We focus pretty heavily on our defense, and when there's a hole to fill, we try and start training that spot pretty early. So they've been doing a lot of work on that front in the off season.
Nice, good. Well, let's go down the list here. Number two in Section 5 last year, at least in the seedings, Maple Grove, 15-4 last year. They lost to Stillwater in the state quarterfinals and ended up winning the state consolation. What do you know and what do you have on Maple Grove?
Yeah, well, they're in our conference this year, so
They
we'll see
are.
them before playoffs. So that's a new
Yeah.
change for the year.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit. They were in the Northwest Suburban, and you didn't play them in the regular season last year. I know that,
We
and
didn't. We tried every year. We tried.
and well, Prior Lake got them on the non-conference, so maybe we scooped them up before you did. But yeah, that must be nice to have them in the regular season, as part of your conference, so you can get a little sneak peek on what they're going to be and what they're all about.
It'll be good. Yeah, we try and see as many of our big hitters in the section during the main season as we can. But teams evolve over 2 months, and we have to also. But it's helpful to get that preview.
Yeah, they had four graduates, also a lot of production, kind of like you, going out the door, but
Yeah,
they've
they
got
lost Sosi, and Hadley.
hmm
Those were big.
and their fifth leading scorer, Jade Isaacson, who's playing at Corey St. Paul. So yeah, a lot of production there, but they have Riley Dunn coming back. She's 26, committed to Austin P. 115 points, not really a lot of production there at all, along with 55 draw controls. What else do you have on the scout for Maple Grove?
Well, this is their second year with a good goalie. Their main goalie for the season last year was a freshman, if I remember correctly.
2028,
And
yeah. Yep.
yeah, it'll be good to see who steps up on their team and fills in those holes. They have good defensive stats. They worked it against BSM in the section final. Um, yeah, it'll be good to see what they can bring.
All right. Third in the section last year, Champlin Park. They were 12-3. They lost to Maple Grove in the semifinals. They had a lot of graduates last year, 9 graduates, as well as a transfer. Their goalie, Paige Hagenbart, transferred down to IMG. So that's a big hit for them, but probably okay for everyone else in the section. So what do you know that's coming back from Champlin Park?
Yeah, they have players aging up. It's time for them to grow into the field. I think they have Miley Jirasek, if that's how you say her last name, still there, right?
Correct.
So she
And
might step in and be a leader.
yep, and Paige's sister Reese, who had 74 goals last year also. So
Did she not graduate?
she was a 2026. Oh, she's a 26 also.
Oh, got it.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So yeah, she'll be a force to deal with also.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I know coaches playing games around how to cover her, so
Number 4 on the list, Benilde St. Margaret's. Kind of a shakeup there with Coach Anna stepping down. She's retired from coaching and is focusing on golf, which is great. They also lost their number one leading scorer, Charlize Vang, Lindenwood commit and player, and who's actually playing well and scoring a lot of goals already this year. She had 66 goals and 11 assists. What do you look for on BSM, especially since you didn't really have a great end of the season with BSM last year?
Yeah, that was a close game. And I'm friends with Anna and we talk about this, but it's always so much harder when the game ends out of nowhere than like it's coming and you can plan for it versus just boom, it's over. But it was a good game. I think our girls went into it having beat them earlier in the season, thinking they knew how to play it, and it was just not to dwell too much on 2025, but we had 3 losses and we only lost by 6 points in the entire season across those 3 losses. So those hit hard. But yeah, Charlie's graduated, Bailey Gray on their defensive end graduated. And I
Yeah.
think June Vang transferred. Have
Well,
you heard that?
she may have transferred, but she may have also transferred back within a week.
That's good to
So
know.
I
It's
think
good to know.
she might be around. Yeah, so that's good for you to know. Yeah, June lefty, I believe, attack. I think she's left-handed. Has a lot of game, a lot of offensive skills, and yeah, she's going to Army next year. So yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, and they still have Katie Croft. Hannah Larson's pretty good on defense. Have sophomore goalie.
yep.
Yeah, they're not one to set aside just with Anna retiring.
They're
See what
actually
their
getting
new coach can bring.
their second through sixth scores back from last year. So besides Charlize, they've got a lot of production coming back as well as their freshman goalies or now sophomore goalie. So they also have Savannah Eisen, who's committed to William and Mary. She's I think more of a defender, and one of my Section 5 sources said she's real fast. So um,
Good
looking
for us to know too.
good for you to know on that too. What else do you have in the rest of the section? We got Blake, we got Brack, we got Hopkins. Any kind of dark horses beyond the top four that like, hey, keep an eye out for this squad. They're kind of making some waves. Blake and Rogers not super great about putting grad years in their Minilax Hub roster, so it's a little hard to project them out. Anything that we should be looking out for?
Well, Armstrong has a new coach that's really trying to shake it up with their program. So I think they're one that we can keep an eye on, see what they can do. We actually just added them into our main schedule, so we'll get a
Oh,
sneak peek of
nice.
them.
Yeah, they bring back Katie Poloni, who is a Queens commit, I believe. She had I didn't write down how many points she had, but I think she was the offensive focus there. I've got Breck 6 and 8 last year. They're returning their first, second, third, fifth, and sixth scorers. Maybe need to increase their overall scoring, but at least there's some youngsters coming back that have played at the varsity level and have been kind of the focus on their team. So maybe a little something brewing with Breck. Anyone else that you got your eye out for?
Lauren, John, and Kate, they've been working hard on building their programs. I think, as I've seen in Wayzata, it takes some time to really build that strong culture and foundation. And I could see them, starting to pay off too.
Well, great. Anything else you want to talk about with Section 5 or anything else in general with Minnesota lacrosse? Kind of, we're getting through February and getting towards March here.
Yeah, it's coming up soon. I hope we have some warm weather. We have only a week of dome time at the beginning of the season, and it'd be nice to not have to use it at all. But yeah, Minnesota lacrosse has grown a ton. It's nice to see that. It'll be nice if we grow to the point where we can kind of split into um, different divisions. But happy to be a part of it.
Well, great. Well, appreciate you taking the time out of the evening to hop on the podcast and talk a little lacrosse. Good luck this season. Hopefully you won't be as under the radar with Down the Alley as you were last year. Kind of a miss on our part. So we know a little bit more about you now, and hopefully we'll get you seated and preseason ranked a little more appropriately.
Well, hey, like I said, we like the sneak attack, so
Well, you got us
it's
last year,
okay.
so good work on that. But uh, yeah, good luck this year, and we'll see you around, I'm sure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet.
And thank you to Coach Madison Kidd, for coming down the alley, giving her time and knowledge on Section 5, giving us a good breakdown. Source, what are your takeaways? Other than that, we completely fumbled last year.
Well, I thought that was kind of a good thing to note. Maybe we'll do a little better this year, but we are clueless, so that's okay. I wasn't on the program last year, so I can't take responsibility for that. Even though all my notes were on the program.
I'm looking at your notes
from last year.
Let's see here. So you had them. Did I just not use your notes or what?
Who could say? Who could say?
Because you had them ranked appropriately.
Last year I did.
Oh no, that's 2026. Oh, sorry, I thought you were making a note. What did you have them ranked last year?
Probably 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I missed that vote too.
Sorry, I was looking at 20. I thought this was like a note of our rankings last year. No, that's your 2026 rate. That's how I can't even read the note. So how do you expect me if I can't even read the document correctly? How am I gonna project good rankings in the preseason? So no, I'm just kidding. I look super clueless right now. Yeah, huge fumble, especially by me not even having them in my top four. That's a tough look.
Do you want to do girls rankings right now, or do we want to wait for Ted? What do we want to do?
I think we should wait for Ted on that. Ted will be here shortly. We can let him pick blind first, for being late and missing the interview. So we'll cut over to the boys here.
Hey, DTA Nation, Ted here. We are excited to have Old Southern Barbecue riding with us again for the 2026 season. If you're craving great barbecue in the metro area, visit one of their 5 metro locations, or you can go onto their website, oldsouthernbarbecue.com, and order food from there. In addition, use DTA15 to get 15% off any of their sauces, rubs, or merch in their online store. Now back to the show.
Coach Hylok, welcome to Down the Alley.
Hello. Sorry about that. Audio AV issues. Okay, we're gonna do this without headphones. We're gonna see how this goes.
All right. No, that's that works for me. How's your off season going?
It's going great. Finally winding down. The kids are getting into captain's practices starting next week. Weather permitting, we're going to see if we're going to have to do a couple of wall ball sessions in a gym, and everyone's favorite time is March lacrosse. So
I think this is your first time on the podcast. You've come to some of our coaches clinics and different events throughout the years, but would love a quick intro from you for those who might not know you.
Sure. So Evan Hylok, I am the head coach of Hopkins Park. I've been here for 2 seasons. This will be my upcoming second season. I was recently the head coach at Blake before that, and the defensive coordinator at Blake. I was a player for Edina. So hate me for those reasons. Don't hate me for being at Hopkins Park now. Hate me because I'm a Hornet. Went to Kansas to just play some club ball and have a ton of fun. And lacrosse has been something that has been a part of my life since I moved here to Minnesota, and I've absolutely loved it. And going to Kansas had given me the opportunity to start coaching while I was in school. And that's where it took off. Shout out to Brandon Horshig, who is the club director down there for Top Gun Kansas City. He gave me my first job for Overland Park Lacrosse, Overland Park Outlaws. And since then, I've just been looking out for my next opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Love that. Love that. Glad you're back in Minnesota. With all your coaching experience in Minnesota, sounds like you're going to know Section 5 and the history of it, very well. Before we look forward, we'd love to, look backward. What's the brief or, maybe, longer history of Section 5? What's the vibe there? Obviously BSM, yeah, they're the recent champions, kind of, of the section, but there's a lot of big programs and a lot of rich history in Section 5.
Section 5 is to your point, a historic section, and I don't say that lightly. Going way back when the days that I played, you had Blake and Benil just going back and forth, where one of those teams would take the section for a couple years, 2 or 3 years, and then the other team would hit them back, and usually whoever came out of that section had, I would say, one of the best opportunities to win state. That then turned into some fantastic public school competition. You've got Wayzata, Maple Grove. You've got Rogers, who has continued to get better and better and better. So Section 5 is a grind. And it's one of those sections where some of those players, if you're an all-state players for Section 5, you can dollars to donuts, you'll be an all-state player as well. So it's a lot of fun to compete in. Sometimes when I think I've ended my season 4 times at Benilde. So, sometimes you're walking off that field and you're going, maybe I shouldn't be in this section. I should be somewhere else. But where else would you want to be? I mean, you're playing some of the best teams around and you get the best competition. So I'm glad to be there.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, no, you're already shouting out some of the teams that definitely want to dive into, more and hear more about. Looking forward to 2026. I'll kind of just start and run by, teams based on their rankings going into the tournament last year. Wayzata, the Trojans were the number 1 seed going in. We were jumping on them last year in kind of the preseason rankings. Obviously had a great regular season, to earn that 1 seed. Unfortunately for them at least, fell short to the Scarlet Knights. Wayzata, how are they looking coming into 2026 after what looked to be a great opportunity in 2025?
I would assume that the Wayzata Trojans are going to continue to be a extremely tough opponent and one of the top teams in the section. I know that they've lost a lot of firepower in that senior class that they had. But at the same time, you have a really, really competitive youth program that feeds into that high school team. So even some kids that maybe we, aren't so familiar with, I could see taking the reins and we could hear some new names of us talking about for the next few years.
Yeah, Wayzata, I don't know, Ted, if you run into them. We don't really typically run into them all that often. My perception of them, are they just a not to discount their offense because they had some great offensive players last year, at least. Are they just a lock it down, pack it in type of team that seems to have a great defense, good goaltending year in, year out? Or, what's the vibe of the Trojans and their style of play?
That kind of seems to be the culture of Wayzata. Like that, I mean, I think like as of recent, I don't know, you could maybe go back pretty far, but they seem to all like they're well coached and they seem to just play a tough, hard-nosed style. And like last year, as coach said, they had they had a handful of really good offensive players too, but they've always just felt to me like they're gonna be defense first, and then kind of work from there. And if you could hold teams to single digits and 5, 6, 7 goals, you have a pretty good chance to win a game.
Moving on to the number 2 seed, BSM, the champions of this section. As we've noted, they've been on a run. I believe for the last 8 years they've been running this section. During that time, multiple titles, a few runner-ups, 3rd place in there as well. This is a team that had a really good, strong senior class, but it seems like this is just a program that reloads year after year, as I'm sure they will in 2026. What do we have on the Red Knights going into this season?
Again, to your point, it's who are they going to reload with? But I mean, this is where I have to talk about their coaching staff and who they're bringing in. Right now they have Giuseppe Palermo as their head coach, who, to his credit, has had a lot of success there. But now they're getting another great coach in Merrick Regan, who is coming over from Hill Murray, and he'll be their defensive coordinator. And honestly, I can only see that as being a good thing for the Red Knights. With those two guys putting their heads together, I could see them being some of the best coach team, one of the best coach teams in the section, if not the state. They're going to have enough firepower. I think it's now going to be more of a defensive team where if they can hold teams to, 4-5 goals tops, I think that they're going to be in every single game, if not winning, every game that they just hold their opponents to a 4 or 5. So that's their magic number that I'm looking for them for every single game. And I assume that they're going to have a ton of success through it.
Yeah, you talk about their lockdown defense. I think that's part of their game that maybe doesn't get talked about enough. I think I know it. You know it, obviously. Maybe we know it, but they talk about guys like Popin last year and others that put up big numbers going D1. And you can go down the list of players throughout the year, but you look at those teams. They always have a good goalie. They always have 4, 5, 6 really stud athletic pulls that know how to lock it down. Ted, anything to add on the Red Knights?
No, I mean, I think, yeah, I echo both of you guys on the D and that maybe with some of the superstar offensive players that they've had, like you said, Pmac, that their D got overlooked a little bit. But they do have, Division I caliber commits at goalie, at LSM, at defense. And they got guys in those key positions that are superstar players at the right spot. So, I think I agree with all that. Who's gonna, they do get their leading scorer back as well. So, he's gonna carry the load, Holton Vanderlyn. But, if you don't need to score that many goals, then this shouldn't be an issue. So again, I think, yeah, they're not just a team that's gonna go away.
The number 3 seed last year, maybe the most interesting team, at least for me, last year and now going into 26. Rogers. This is again outside looking in. This isn't a town that we run into really ever, or at least not yet. Hopefully we do. It seems like it's a hockey town. It seems like they're building up their athletics as what I assume more people are moving in here. And kind of building up athletics as their town grows. Rogers lacrosse is now following suit. It seems like kind of maybe an up and coming electric factory. Maybe I'm getting putting the cart ahead of the horse here. I don't know. This is a team that returns all of their top 6 scorers going into 2026. They do have some, pieces that they have graduated from that 2025 team that could, affect things for sure. But this is just a team and program that is really interesting to me. I'm rooting for them, from a distance. What do we have on Rogers? Because I'm just fascinated with what's going on here.
With every single program in the state, to your point where you say like, oh, I think that we have a hockey town. I feel like Minnesota is the equivalent of Texas, where if they've got a good football program, it's going to trickle down to everything else. Rogers has succeeded in building up their hockey program, and those athletes have obviously been involved in the lacrosse program. Something that I can look at and take a little bit like where my eyes pop is where their specialists are problems for other teams. Their long sticks are problems for other teams. Their defensive middies are problems for other teams. And now, to your point, if they return majority of their scoring, that's going to be a huge problem for any team that goes up against them in the state. I don't care if you have some of those top tier talents that could be Division One. If you have a team that knows what they're doing, especially in the Minnesota State High School League, where you don't have to worry about a shot clock, you really don't have to worry about going to the cage as often as you may need to with our lackadaisical keep it in rules or stall calls that may or may not get called. If everyone knows what they're doing and has the ability of holding on to the ball and winning those ground balls with your specialists, this could be a team that could be very well going to the finals in the section.
What type of, I haven't, really seen them play. Again, I'm not in this section. We don't run into them. Are they more of a run and gun type of team, or are they kind of lock it down? Like Wayzata, and not that Benilde is like lock it down per se, but or are they kind of different than maybe the rest of the section? Where are they kind of more run and gun? Having those good specialists, winning a lot of faceoffs, getting those saves.
From what I've seen, they are, to your point, more on the possession side of things, especially with. I'm trying to find the names of some of these kids here because I remember looking at the film here, but with their ability of getting ground balls, it continues to like stick in my head here, and I just want to take the time. Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. You guys can discuss among yourselves, but I want to give these guys some props here. Give me 2 seconds. I want to look at my all section sheet and make sure I get their names correct.
No, you're good. As you pull that up, a couple names that pop out to me. Their Fogo last year, who looks like graduated, was Adam Leshovsky. Goalie last year was Blake Evers. The returning point getter is Brett Cassidy. Looks like he's going D1 Queens, according to my scouting report from Ted T.S. Spirides. So appreciate you, Ted, on that.
And to touch on him a little bit, maybe Evan can correct me here. He may know him better than me. I kind of heard about him and saw him on the club circuit as an LSM. Maybe he plays club LSM, and he had 61 points for Rogers. So I'm not sure if he's like, hey, you're going to be a short stick midi for us and score goals because you're an athlete, or if he actually scored 61 points as an LSM and just stays out there the whole time. Not quite sure. I didn't watch any tapes, so maybe you can clarify this.
If I remember correctly, he's that guy that they come off and they just tell him to do whatever and he does it, right? They switch out sticks, they get him out there on the field, which again, to have that kind of mentality is unique, right? To have a kid just do whatever the team needs and whatever is going to be help them be successful. So that's my understanding of when we go in and talk about these specialists and what they do. And also sometimes that can be a discredit to sometimes where like, well, he's not out there all the time playing attack, getting points for us. He's a guy that is playing short stick D midi and he's, out there trying to do everything that he can and fill those spots. So sometimes I feel like our rankings can be a little bit skewed when some guy is taking it for the team and trying to do the best he can rather than just going out and getting his.
Yeah, no, moving on to Maple Grove. There's been some sources that have been pumping this stock, buying this stock, and sharing the news of this stock as we did some research this week. So, I'm excited to dive into this team and see what's going on. This is obviously a big public school, a lot of athletes. Another hockey town. They've had some, really good hockey teams. I can't talk about the other sports because I don't follow those as closely, but you got to imagine with the amount of turf that is in that zip code, there's no excuse that, this program shouldn't be successful. Coming off a 5-10 season, I know there's been a lot of coaching changes. They brought an OG back and Coach Joe Bear, to help. I think he's an assistant. I'm probably a D coordinator if I had to guess, to try to get this team back on track. This is a team that had talent. Ricky P going to Monmouth, one of the most underrated schools in Division I lacrosse. not in terms of what's going on the field, but locationally off the field. And another, couple of good defensemen, one going to Lewis as well, in Knutson. So, but looking and diving deeper into this, looks like they had a kind of a young core, and a lot of it's coming back. So, what do we have on the Crimson going into 2026 and beyond?
I'm looking at returner Grant Jensen. I'm looking at Josh Thompson. I'm looking at kids that they are going to have back that are going to be very formidable. I had the opportunity to run captain's practices for these guys in the summer, and it was a fun group to be around. And I'm a little bit jealous with Joe. If I didn't have a place that was so great to me like Hopkins Park, I might even think about Maple Grove. But he's going to have some great kids to work with. They love him. And any team that has that coach on the sidelines, they're going to be a little more gritty, a little more in your face, a little more intense. And I think that's something that goes along with the group of guys at Maple Grove. I think that they can carry it. I'm really excited for Joe Bear. I think that he's going to have a great time in his homecoming. And I think that these kids are going to have a lot of fun being coached by him. So to your point, great core of kids coming back. I think that they are going to be a huge problem in the section. Do I want to say that they're going to take it? I don't know, but I just want to say that they're definitely a team that is going to compete with Rogers. They're going to compete with Benil. They're going to compete with Wayzata. I don't think that this is a team that can be written off.
Yeah, I mean, I had a source tell me that they felt Maple Grove was winning the section. That was what was said to me. They were 5-10, I think, last year. Kind of a down year for them. I feel like they're usually more on like a 10-5 type situation. So kind of was an awkward year for them. But on my notes, at least, a lot of their players were 28s, 27s, like kind of a younger team. So now, those kids are a year older, and you got the Joe effect of, him coming back, and he knows a lot of them from previous seasons. Could be an interesting wild card of a team. I don't know. I like you said, I don't know if I'm ready to put them as the odds-on favorite, but some sources are saying that could be a sneaky pick.
The 5th seed last year, a team, if Rogers is off my radar, in terms of running into, this team is even more off my radar in Breck. Private school, a team that historically, frankly, hasn't been very competitive. But looking at last year, getting the 5th seed in Section 5, going 6-7, I think they played Minnetonka as a out of conference game, so not afraid to play people. I props to them for that. And looks like they've got a lot coming back. Looks like it was a very young team last year, going 6-7. Maybe I should be looking at them more. What anything on them?
Returning goaltender for them, Asher Korndorf, should be a huge aspect of their team. The fact that they have a goaltender that is stopping somewhere, I believe it's close to around 60% of the shot of the rubber that's thrown at them. I think that whenever you have a team that needs to rely on a few guys rather than the whole team, you're looking at some of your superstars to take over a game. I definitely want to lean on my goaltender. As far as where all that scoring is going to come from, they do have an attackman over there. He's a freshman, if I remember correctly, last year, Ryan 80. He's going to be taking some steps here. I assume that being a pivotal point for their offense last year as a freshman, he's only going to get better as a sophomore. There was some talk about him rivaling some school greats from back in the day when Breck had some of those teams that would go toe-to-toe with Blake and Benilde. So some young superstar, a returning goaltender, and I believe they also have a couple other really good standout players. So, maybe they can build off of their record of last year. And you know what? If you can build off that record and you're a private school and you can continue to get better and better, who knows? Maybe that makes you a little more attractive to somebody who's trying to decide which private school to go to in the state. And hopefully we can continue to make that a competitive look at if you're a lacrosse player, rather than just always choosing one or two schools. Maybe we get a third school for some of these lacrosse players to consider.
Nothing to add, Ted?
No, I think he hit the nail on the head there.
I'd like to shoot it over to your squad now. Hopkins Park. I'm not going to give it an introduction because you're going to know a lot more than what I could pull out of my hat. So, Coach, what do you have going on in your program?
Well, we've got some young kids that are really excited to play the game, but I'm really excited for our seniors to be leading the charge. Braden Fiore is a leftman attackman. He's committed to Lawrence in Appleton, Wisconsin. He's a kid that has just grown a ton over the summer. He's gotten wider. He's gotten into the gym. He's gotten smarter. He's been playing a ton of lacrosse. We've got Finn Zolkoffer, who is another senior for us that's going to be playing at Dubuque. This kid is just a lacrosse rat. Really excited to have him just get more into his own. He's one of those guys that was playing Fogo, playing short stick, playing long stick, and now we're going to stick him with long stick and see where it goes. But also some junior captains and some guys that are really excited to take more of a leadership role and have those sophomores contribute more. This is a team that lost, I believe it was 5 games by 1 goal last year, 5 or 6 games in overtime. So I really hope that we built off of that and we can understand what we need to do to win, not just compete.
Love to hear it. As we're talking about other teams, other programs, are you guys building up a youth program? How are you guys getting connected, with the next ones and continuing to build on, what you guys have going on?
Appreciate that question. So we are a co-op with Hopkins in the St. Louis Park at the high school level, and we're actually a co-op at the youth level. And we've been doing a ton of engagement around tri-lacrosse days at that, U10, U12 age group. You want to, lack of a better term, like smoking, catch them early. You want to get them in as quickly as possible before they pick up a baseball bat. So we've got that going on, and there have been some great numbers. We now have, I believe, 2 full teams at the U8, 2 full teams at U10, 2 full teams, 1 full team at U12. But one little interesting aspect is that we have a little bit of a crater in between our 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. And we've asked for a ton of reach out to get more involvement with those age groups. And we've gotten a ton of kids that are signing up for lacrosse, and this will be their first year. And so our B team and our prep team that's underneath our high school level, huge shout out to Waconia, Moundsview, Chaska, Minnetonka has their white innings. Those are guys that are also in the same boat of having and fielding a B team. I believe Edina fields one as well. Those are the unsung heroes of Minnesota State High School League, are those kids that play B team and play prep team. Without moving the middle, you're not going to have a program. Unless you are a fortunate enough team like, say, a Benilde or say a Blake or a Breck or somebody that you have an influx of students in another capacity. But just a huge shout out to those kids that are willing to pick up a stick and suck at something for the first 2 weeks of having a stick in their hands for the first time in their lives when they're already teenagers. And I don't think I had that kind of gumption when I was that age to be bad at something. But they are doing it, and they're giving other opportunities to their teammates. And really, without those kids, we wouldn't have a program. So not just a shout out to ours, but anybody that is involved in that B or that prep squad, it's huge. It's really great for the game.
You know, even at a program like Prior Lake that has a bunch of teams and a bunch of kids that play from a young age, we get kids that start in high school, and some of those kids are some of them do turn out to be great lacrosse players, which is great. Some come in and are just like awesome kids and become leaders. Like, you know, they bring in a different energy. Maybe they're big football kids, and you know, maybe we have a bunch of football kids of, you know, from that age. Like they bring in a different energy and a different leadership, and so it's fun getting those different kids that maybe didn't start when they're U10, and you've been playing forever. They come in and they look at things differently, and they're trying things differently and everything. So, you know, like you, wherever you're from, like encourage your friends to pick up a stick. Start at any age, right? We've had kids start their senior year, right? So it's never too late, to try the game, no matter, where you're from. Any bold takes? I know we were sending a couple messages back and forth today, to get lined up and fired up from, for Section 5. Any big takes that you want to kind of close out with today?
My big take, hot, fiery take, Hopkins Park is going to take the 5 seed. No lower than the 5 seed coming out of Section 5. That's my hot take. Another one is I would love to see in the finals of this section someone else besides Benilde in the finals of this section, because I just think that there is so much talent around the Maple Groves, the Rogers, the Wayzatas. I want somebody else to rise through the crucible. Now that I'm calling it out, now I feel like I've created some bulletin material and like great, but I really would love to see that final push through and get some of these other teams through this section. So I guess I am biased from having my season being ended there so many times, but it's a good thing if you're hated. It means that you're doing something right. Again, I know that from growing up in Edina. Humble plug again. We're going to the state high school hockey tournament. We got to do it. But seriously, I would love to see somebody else make it through this section, and I think that this could be a year for it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And with that, I want to thank you for coming down the alley, giving us your time, spreading the good word, and being a good source for Section 5.
I appreciate the time, guys. Really, thank you very much for being. Thank you very much for everything that you guys do. I don't think that you guys get enough credit for the amount of time and the amount of research that you guys do to make this happen. Thank you for all the coaches in Minnesota. Just keep doing it, guys. I know it might be a thankless job some days and taken for granted, but we really, 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 really appreciate everything you guys do. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And good luck this season.
Go Royals.
And thank you to Coach Hylok from the Hopkins SLP program for coming down the alley, giving us his insight, finishing with the hot take, and then pumping our tires as he walks out the door here. So thank you to Coach Hylok. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love the energy. High energy guy. I've heard that from some people that played for him or coached with him, that he's just one of those coaches that, every day kind of sets the bar brings the energy no matter what. Like, you don't even know, like, if he's had a good day or a bad day. It's just like always high energy. So props to him. Section 5 it was like really competitive for a while, and then like kind of dipped maybe last year, even the last 2 years. And now I feel like this could be a little bit, the last couple podcasts we've had, our picks have been pretty similar. Like it felt like there was kind of a top 2 or 3, and then there was maybe one dark horse. This section feels a lot more open to me.
Is it wide open? Like, are we? Because we did this slide. Okay, so this is where my head's at. I'm gonna lay out where my head's at. Last year, we tried to open the door and say, this is the year. It's
Yeah.
Wayzata's year. Benild's not going to win it. It's for the people, right? For the general public. It's finally time. It's finally the time. And should have known better. Wasn't the time. Yeah, they didn't get the 1 seed. Yeah, whatever. They still won the section. So maybe I'm a little nervous about just not saying Benilde. I know there's some hot stocks. I know sources are saying things. It's Benilde's section. Like, it's been Benilde's section. Yeah. We're closing on 10 years here if they continue this.
I don't think it's wide open, but if someone other than Benilde on this list won the section, I would be less shocked and surprised than if, let's say, a team in section 4, boys or girls, took down Stillwater. I think there's more potential challengers in this section than maybe in other sections with like a clear heavy favorite.
I think you could say this is up until this point in our breakdowns. This is the most competitive section.
Yeah, and I mean every team that listens to this podcast is going to go like, what are you talking about? Like, this is our section. Like, we're not going to, like, every other team sucks. We're going to dominate the section. And like, that's the mindset everybody's going to have.
And they should.
But as I've dug into the notes of this on the section 5 boys, I was not on the girls portion of this episode, so I can't comment on that. But on the
you're going to have to. So,
a lot of these teams got a lot of good players back. We've had some movement. I don't know. We've had some coaching changes. There's a lot going on here, and it feels like a lot of these teams got a lot of good players back.
Do we want to jump into the rankings, or do we need to do any further discussion on anything in this section?
We can jump into the rankings.
Okay. Let's start with the boys. First off, stud of the section. Didn't really. I don't know if we really dove in this with Hylok at all. We were talking players. As we go through this, is there anybody that's standing out to you as a potential stud of the section?
Boys.
Now we'll do girls after. Boys.
I think we didn't touch on this. Well, I mean, I'll back up. I think Benilde's goalie, Josh Imes, and their LSM, Brady Marcus, are 2 fantastic players. I think Brett Cassidy from Rogers is the most interesting player. And obviously also a fantastic player, but just like what he does. And if it's probably between those 3. This Holton Vanderland is pretty solid as well from Benilde. The entire starting defense for Wayzata comes back, and they've got multiple commits. I think if I have to make a choice, Brett Cassidy. I'm going to go Brett Cassidy from Rogers.
I'm going to support that pick based on your guys' conversation around him. And I've got heavy bias towards Rogers this year. I'm buying stock. I don't know if it's a low stock. I don't know if it's already high. I don't know if I'm buying late. I'm not really sure, but call me maybe all in on Rogers.
The other guy to watch, and I'm going to say allegedly, because I have not confirmed this with them personally, but I believe Jack Olson, who was a star player at Armstrong, is now at Maple Grove. He is a beast as well. He's definitely an offensive player to watch, an attackman. Again, if I'm wrong on that, of him actually not being at Maple Grove, I think his dad is the new head coach, so it makes sense. But again, I don't know him personally or the family, so I'm not gonna say one way or the other. But regardless of if he's at Maple Grove or Armstrong, he's a player to watch as well. A big, strong attackman.
Which makes sense to replace Ricky P.
Yep.
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 Graduate Ricky P, go to the portal, bring him in. Sure. Makes a lot of sense. Rankings. I don't know. Ted, I'm gonna let you go first. I don't know. I don't even know if I know what I think. What do you got on this?
All right. This is probably gonna be my most controversial ranking.
Wow. Okay. Buckle up. Buckle up. What do we got?
About time.
Go
Let's
Maple
go.
Grove is my one.
No.
You're going you're jumping on the hype.
Maple Grove 1.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Wayzata 2.
Wow.
I'm gonna go BSM 3. I'm gonna go Rogers 4.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have
Just because I want to shake it up. I'm shaking it up.
No,
tonight.
I like the shake up. I like what you're doing. I'm not gonna follow your lead, but I like what you're doing, and I think that probably sets the tone of the vibe of this section. I think the stock tickers, it's gonna be this might be a volatile year in this market. Um I I'm not gonna fade them yet. I've got to go Benilde at 1. I don't remember if I picked them 1 or 2 last year. If I feel like I might have picked Wayzata last year, so I'm not. I'm gonna let them lose first, right there. I'm gonna ride the train until the train reaches the station.
That's the logical pick. It's a logical pick.
So I'm going Benilde 1. I'm going Rogers 2. Like I said, I love this team. I love what's going on here. It's a vibe for me. I'm all in. I'd put you at 1 if Benilde wasn't there. And I'd rather put you I want to put you at 1. Let me put you at 1 going into sections. I want to put you at 1. I'll go Wayzata 3, Maple Grove 4. I love the energy that's coming out of the Crimson. I hope they prove me wrong. I want them to prove me wrong. I would love for them to prove me. Please prove me wrong. I am rooting for you. So I know I put you at 4. Probably doesn't feel like I'm rooting for you, but trust me, I am rooting for you. I want you to prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. Source, what do you got?
Yeah. In a volatile market, you have to go with something that's consistent. What's more consistent to BSM? Like it's like Ted said, it's a safe pick. You're not going to be criticized for picking BSM 1. So I gotta go BSM 1. Wayzata has all the defense coming back. They're going to grind you down with their legion of poles and their starting goalie. Like they'll score enough to win these close games. So we're gonna go Wayzata 2. I am also very intrigued by Rogers and all the offense they have coming back from Hockeytown, USA. So I'm gonna go Rogers 3. And on 4, I am fading the Maple Grove hype. Like they're not in the top 4. We're gonna go Breck top 4. Everyone is really excited about this. I have to zig where everyone is zagging. Yeah, great Maple Grove, great community, all the turf in the world. Joe Bear, we love him. A lot of turmoil up there, a lot of turnover, a lot of things going on. I'm going to take a wait and see Maple Grove.
Over to the girls. Ted, you're coming in pretty blind. Love that. We're gonna make you go first for missing for missing the interview. But before we make Ted, choose his picks, Source, who do you have on the stud of the section?
All right. So first of all, last week, section 4, forgot to mention the stud of the section. That was my fault. That was my bad. Shout out to Sam Hone from Gentry for being the start of the section 4. Apologies for forgetting about you, but we didn't. Section 5 started the section. There are a couple names to choose from. June Vang back at BSM. We talked about that during the talk with Coach Kidd. She's going to put up a lot of points. She's taken back seats to her sister, to Julia Evans, to a bunch of other just BSM all-stars. She's going to be the offensive side of things for a while. She maybe took a quick look at things at Gentry and said we're going to go back to BSM. Reese Hagenbart, we talked about her twin sister going down to IMG. Reese is still at Champlin Park throwing up goals. She's a dominant presence on the offensive side. But the start of the section is Riley Dunn, Maple Grove, awesome P commit, 115 points last year. I don't know, a gazillion draw controls. She has a low-to-low shot that she loves, and she scores on very regularly, and that's going to give her the stud of the section preseason award.
Are they down in like Nashville or something? Austin P?
Yes, I believe so.
Not a bad spot.
Why not? There's nothing wrong with that place.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Ted, girls lacrosse, section 5. Who do you got in your top 4?
I think I'm gonna do the old run it back with Maple Grove at 1. So I got the Crimson Sweep on my radar here.
Matches your hat.
Yeah, it does. Things get a little interesting for me at this point. I will say I originally had Wayzata here, but as I'm looking through the notes, they lost some pretty big time players on the offensive end. Get some D back and a goalie. But I think I'm gonna go BSM 2, Wayzata 3, Champlin Park 4. I think that's my top 4. And that's just a quick glance of some notes. I did not hear the interview. I did not hear discussion. So this is this could be like completely off the rails.
Yeah, I'm kind of shooting from the hip a little bit. I know it was a part of the conversation, but I am going to follow you on Maple Grove. And then I kind of forgot what you said on the rest. So I'm going to go Benilde at 2. They've been in the mix. They got runner-up again last year. So I'm gonna continue to trust the winners who's been winning recently. What have you been doing for me lately? I'll go Wayzata at 3, and I'm going Rogers at 4. I think what's going on in their hockey program, what's starting to go on in their boys lacrosse program, that's going to leak over to the girls' side here at some point. So Rogers, put Rogers at 4 for me.
Nothing wrong with that. Clean sweep at number 1, Maple Grove. They won the section last year, won the state consolation. Yeah, they lost 4 seniors with a lot of production, but they got a lot of underclassmen ready to fill that void. So we're going to Maple Grove 1. I am going Wayzata 2. They did lose 3 graduates, all 3 mega producers, but they have a pretty big group of youngsters coming up. I am looking at Wayzata next year as my number 1, quite honestly. But they're going to be number 2 this year. BSM with new coach Sydney Soto stepping in for Anna Bowlesby. They're going to be 3, led by June Vang, and number 4, we're going to go with Champlin Park.
All right. Okay, so I wasn't
You weren't-
crazy.
No,
Wasn't
you're not crazy at all.
Okay. I don't know. I this is a great section on both boys and girls. It kind of feels like I feel like there's a lot of good matchups that could potentially happen in a section final game.
And it feels like there's opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, at certain years, it felt like, okay, you're kind of playing for second place, you know,
Yeah.
with the Benildes when they were flying high. Feels like there's some opportunity to make a
Yeah.
run here.
Yeah, and Benilde is going to listen to this show, and I mean, we've just given them not just bulletin board, but like we've given a full newspaper full of clippings for them to have on their bulletin board.
Not we, you. Not we, you.
Well, I mean, even in the episode, we talked about. I mean, even Coach Hylok a little bit was like, hey, someone else might win it, or I hope someone else wins it. You know, he's trying to stir the pot a little bit, but you know, kind of coming back to Pmac's comment of and the source too of they've won it 8 straight years, and every year it's kind of like, well, maybe I don't know, and it's still been ill. So I maybe just fuel the fire by giving them more bulletin board material of thinking someone else might win it. I mean, me, not you guys, but me. I don't know, but or even just saying the section's competitive might be enough for them. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it, like you're not going to out Benilde, so like you have to do something different to beat them. And it does feel like Maple Grove and Rogers are offering a different take on things, and maybe that's what's needed to get past them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Um, anything else?
We've got a competition probably maybe still going on for that lacrosse head. Thank you, Adrenaline Lacrosse. They hooked us up with some lacrosse gear to give away. A couple lacrosse heads. So we're starting to give those away on Instagram. Stay tuned. What else are we working on? Anything?
No, I think we're just rolling. We're getting closer to the season, and
Yeah.
yeah, one day at a time.
Parent meetings, coaches meetings are in full bore as we flip this calendar to March. So I'll be busy with that. On the field a little less with the youth, and more parent meetings and coaches meetings. So is what it is there. Section 6 next week. Section of death, section of doom.
We'll find out when we dig into the notes here.
We've already had some last minute changes. You know, I'll tease that in terms of this, some things in the section. Breaking news over the last week here. So it's gonna be sad. I got some bias, right? I've got Rogers bias. I got a lot of section 6 bias. I think it's the best section. So I don't know.
Find out next week.
See you, boys.
Adios.